everybody. I'm Mel Smith, a visual artist who focuses on techniques and subjects commonly depicted in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Often, this specifically touches on the occult, and in this context, that covers things that would have been considered hidden or obscured knowledge, and even mythical creatures, as you can see here, the unicorn. I'm heavily inspired by these older styles such as Baroque or illuminated manuscripts due to their connection with the occult, as I'm interested in looking back at the way that they viewed these subjects and the contrast when continuing forward to how they are depicted today. So to break it down further, you see them most often in children's media as a benevolent force that will help and aid whoever is framed in kind of a morally just light. They're sort of fragile and delicate, where its lifespan, its immortality is often disregarded. And usually we see depictions of a unicorn before its death or as it's about to die. And it's kind of an contemplation on our own disbelief in immortality, or how we are unable to conceptualize a concept that has not been measured and recorded to study. So we show them as dying when they're supposed to be an undying creature, and I suppose I find myself curious about these types of contradictions in how various subjects were looked at in the past and how they are looked at today, such as alchemy, where in the past it was kind of considered a science before science had been conceptualized, and now it's sort of seen as the proto-chemistry. So I'm really interested in taking those interpretations from modern lenses and the ways our culture has influenced us to look at these things, to distance myself from this perspective, to take into account how the past history could have viewed these subjects as a wild, ferocious creature. And, there was a reason why they were known for being flighty. They had no qualms about killing anyone who got too close to them, and this was presumably because they were trying to protect the horn that they have, as it was rumored to be able to cure illness, poison, or any ailment if it was used as a drinking vessel. And so the subject matter that I will depict is in part inspired by the questions I have that crop up around these subjects, and I found myself driven to work through them by visualizing them and how they work through art. And I take a lot of inspiration from these older styles because it interests me and challenges me in trying to mimic these traditional and sometimes more labor-intensive ways of creating art. And I find that this difficulty can be explained by the use of mediums, or the availability of mediums that tended to be more particular in the ways that you could utilize them, such as the ones I'm using here, parchment and ink. A lot of historical documents, such as books of hours and various occultist artists, such as Remedios Varos, Austin Osman Spare, and Hieronymus Bosch, have influenced my style, as well as kind of broadened my view in what I could choose to depict in my art. So while I'm driven by my own curiosity towards unfamiliar concepts, I'm also striving to make the viewer curious in the same way that I was when I first stumbled across the subject. I want to incite the same sort of burning curiosity as to why or how the unicorn has shifted in meaning and use, has my piece provided an insight or a different way of looking at the subject. And so by bringing these older subjects back to the viewer's attention, I'm creating a space to allow the viewer to suspend their disbelief for a brief moment in time to contemplate and entertain the unbelievable. That's why I think it's important for me to adhere to historical accuracy and practices within my work to better allow the viewer to visit the past. And often I feel as though I've only scratched the surface with this topic and other topics and feel compelled to come back to them and do a series of works that explores the unicorn in different lenses and in different ways, where here it explores what the unicorn is, its form, its traits, what it's known for, this very exterior, outer, surface level view that can be very easily recognized. The next one may be interrogating or looking at how unicorns were used as a metaphor within alchemical manuals or illustrations. My art is available on various different platforms, such as my own site and places such as Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and while I tend to focus on pre-made work, commissions will also be available on a more limited basis.